morning, and we're getting an early start heading on out. Let me write that in the log. Leaving Spicer's Marina, and we're heading for Norwalk, Connecticut, our home port.
Did you get engine hours?
I did not. Let me get the engine hours.
Okay.
Let me read them off.
5685.6.
5685.6. Yeah, that was bad.
Remind me, I have to change the oil.
Okay.
This is odd. They put, according to this chart, they put these boats right on the line.
Yeah, it does kind of look like they're in the channel, but maybe they didn't start off that way.
They better have.
Well,
look at the shredded jib
I
here.
know, that's not good. Someone had a bad day with a jib.
I wonder what that is, that boat.
I can't tell from this angle.
Flag's still there.
Yeah. All it takes, though, is a slightly loose jib on a furler and a bad blow, and you get shredded.
Right.
I'm not sure what that is.
Is that Irwin?
Perhaps. I can't see any markings. Nice furler in the main and the mizzen in boom furling. Someday when we grow up. Name of the boat is Heathen.
Ethan?
Yes.
Plus extensive sail work.
No, this is a different boat. The one that has the shredded jib is Solace. Solace. There we go.
Soulless.
Solace. All right. I think I need more coffee.
It's a vampire.
Yeah. No, I'm just
You're tired.
caffeine deprived and a little tired from sinus stuff.
Nice little anchorage, a little exposed though.
Yeah,
I can see you getting really beat up here.
you could if it comes down the sound.
Alright, I see not Thunder.
Um,
Who's he?
The dumplings.
Dumplings.
North and South Dumpling, the two little islands.
It's really odd. The guy built like an amphitheater and a Grecian temple and windmills.
Hey, if you can afford an island in
You can do
Long Island
whatever
Sound,
you want.
you can put whatever you want on it.
I'd love to explore fissures. You can only explore like up to the middle.
Right.
And then it's all private after that.
Yeah,
Which is fine. I can't fault people.
yeah. So a little tight coming in, but it works. I love this little lighthouse.
I love these little houses out here.
Yeah.
Especially the ones that actually look like the, not a salt box, but the little capes.
Yeah.
They look like they belong here.
Mm-hmm. There's
This thing on the end, I don't know what that is. When I retire, I'm going to live on a little island.
Yeah. We have kind of our own island. It happens to float from place to place.
Yeah.
Certainly cheaper than any of these.
Yes.
Wonder how many millions a little rock like this costs.
Hope you have a compost toilet. I like the outside shower on that one.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody's coming up.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Ah, they're going to work on Fisher Island.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay. People pay big bucks for football.
Yeah, yeah. I thought it was a fishing boat going out for the day, taking people out for a ride, but no.
Saw that on KBC. They have like a whole big ferry.
Yeah. All right, let me go get my coffee. So the little island closest to us is North Dumpling, That's the one that Jim was saying. It looks like they have a Grecian amphitheater and monoliths and stuff, but it's hard to see from here. They also have their own little windmill, which powers the island. And then beyond them is South Dumpling, which doesn't look like it's inhabited. And then Big Fisher Island beyond it. And there's lighthouse off to the right. I don't know if it's visible in this little video, but it's called Race Rock. And that's where the tide rushes and races through. Goes, I think at the max is around 4.7 knots of current. So you've got to watch your P's and Q's or you might end up going backwards. In fact, on one of the around Long Island races, we were in this area and the tide turned against us and the wind died, and so our strategy was actually to anchor. And I think because we anchored and everybody else moved astern of us, we actually won that race. Another unusual thing about the race that I was on, and any race with Captain Arthur, was that if it's an overnight race, he always bakes an apple pie underway. So he would bring a pre-made pie crust and all the apples, and we would sit on the high side of the boat, being rail meat as usual, with our paring knives and peeling apples. And the best thing was you'd go off watch, catch a few hours of sleep, and you'd wake up to the smell of freshly baked apple pie. It was pretty awesome. So we've left Fisher Island Sound astern, heading up Long Island Sound now. Over this way is New London. It's a very large seaport, has ferries to Orient Point, Long Island, and the one to Block Island. Lots of nice marinas and a couple of anchorages and pretty lighthouses. Probably hard to see in this, but there are two of them here. It's also where the Groton submarine base is. When I came in on the ferry going to a family reunion, I was able to see one of the submarines being worked on. Pretty fascinating to see one of those underway. They look really weird. They don't look like a normal boat. You just see this big towering thing coming at you and this weird wake, and then you realize, oh, there's something under that giant tower that's moving at speed. Our plants got a little beat up on our passage yesterday. I forgot to bring the sweet potato vines inside, so they're looking a little worse for wear. We gave everything a good washing down when we got to Noank last night. We're letting some of our beans go to seed so we can have seeds for next year. They're just so pretty. I love the climbing ones especially. Some of the fishing boats coming out of, I think, Niantic, it looks like. And there's one here, smaller of the two. And then this giant, what they call a party fishing boat.
Don't get in this guy's way.
No, he's on a mission.
They call it people jammed up on the front.
Yeah.
Give me a fish right now. And we're starting to get big ocean swells. You can see them.
Yeah.
They're not making any actual noise. That's my interpretation.
Right. Yeah, the ocean swells are coming from astern. We're looking astern now, and that's looking out into the ocean between Long Island, just in the haze to the right, and Fisher Island to the left. The sun is finally coming through all this haze. Again, from the fires in Canada. And one of the big ferries out of New London is just entering the sound. Oh, will you look at that? That's the beginning of a corn on the cob. Who'd have thought? I don't think we have enough to pollinate, but it's really pretty cool and very pretty. Also getting quite a few peppers here on this little pepper plant, and lots of flowers still. Got a little beat up in the storm, well, not the storm, in the crossing. And I gotta pick some more jalapenos. One of the draggers, probably for clams or oysters, you can just see the lines from the nets that go down into the water. No, don't get in his way, and don't cross the stern too close.
Like playing in the street when a dumpster, a cement mixer comes by.
We're just at the mouth of the Connecticut River, and there's a shoal here which you can't see any trace of other than the red here and the red-green there. It's called Long Sand Shoals. We decided to go on the outside of it because the current will give us a little extra push, about a knot. We'll take all the extra help we can get. Some pretty lighthouses in there. Jim turned on our inverter and he's plugging in to the internet.
We're doomed.
Yes, my love, we're doomed.
Not really.
Not really.
It's we're actually using our Wi-Fi hotspot
on the phone.
On our AT&T phone, and that's land. So it's really pretty amazing, the resolution.
Right.
Sensitivity.
I remember the time we were at least 4 or 5 miles offshore, and I was working while you were driving the boat. It worked pretty well. It is impressive that you can use your telephone as a hotspot and communicate around the world. I know I sound like a dinosaur, but I think it's pretty cool. We're currently off the town of Westbrook, where my cousins live. There's a little island there you can duck behind and anchor, though you have to watch out, the currents get pretty wicked. And there's Pilot's Point Marina, which is a huge marina there, very nice and very sheltered. And then a little bit to the left here is the town of Clinton, and there's another marina there that we've stayed at that's also quite nice. Lots of options along the way. But we're about 3.5 hours into a 9 or 10 hour trip today. I'm on watch. We got Ozzy driving the boat, but there's still a lot to do when you're on watch. The first thing is every few minutes I do a clear sweep around visually 360 to make sure there are no boats heading our way. So here we have really good visibility all around. There's one slight blind spot behind me where Jim sits, but I can always stick my head out the window to take a look. Of course, I need to look dead ahead for anything in the way. Lobster buoys, detritus boats. So I need to maintain my steerage and point of view just by Ozzy driving. I'll make adjustments. And of course, I got to keep an eye on the charts. Now, as I've mentioned before, we always have the chart plotter, which is lovely, but there are certain things when you're zoomed in or zoomed out that you can't really see as well. So I like having the paper chart. There was a place called Long Sand Shoals that we passed by about an hour ago. And when we were zoomed out on the chart plotter, it didn't look like much of anything. I happen to know it because I've been sailing these waters for most of my life. And so I got out the paper chart, and it clearly showed the 3 buoys we should avoid. And while this boat could probably go over most of it, there are a few places that got down to 3-4 feet at dead low where we would bump along. So we always keep that going. The other thing you have to do when you're on watch, especially in a motorboat, is to watch all your gauges. We have a temperature gauge, we have an oil pressure, temperature here, oil pressure there. That's for charging with the alternator and our RPMs. So I keep an eye on all those things to make sure the engine continues to run well. I also keep a very copious log. People might say a little too much, but back in the day when we were doing dead reckoning for our navigation, and we didn't have all these fancy chart plotters, we'd need to do a lot more detailed plot. You'd have your last point of reference. You'd go to a compass point. You'd take into account your drift with the tide, or if you're sailing, if you're side slipping, try to find your next point. If you miss your next point, you know where you were and the approximate location where you might be. So you look for another point of reference, and that's how you did your dead reckoning down the south. We're so spoiled with our chart plotters these days. It's pretty impressive what we can do. The other thing is keep the radio on. We always have it scanning. We keep 1613 and a few other the primary VHF radio frequencies in our scale, just to make sure we know what's going on around us, in case somebody needs help, or in case we get into trouble, we know who might be able to assist. So those things keep you pretty busy when you're on watch. And the time actually goes by pretty quickly. A couple miles off to starboard here is Faulkner Island. It has a lighthouse and the lighthouse keeper's light. So I think it's fully automated at this point. Very pretty. Guilford behind it, and just a little west of it are a group of islands called the Thimble Islands, which are very, very pretty, but be careful. There are a lot of rocks there. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Maine. We are now off New Haven, Connecticut, and it's a big port. You can see the tanker there, or cargo ship. They got the whole setup inside for unloading and reloading ships. Of course, there's Yale and lots of neat history museums in the city there. When we're underway for a long time and the person's off watch, there are a number of things you can do, but a lot of it depends on the sea state. So if it's really rough, a lot of times I'll just wedge myself in here on the dinette with a lot of cushions just to keep me from bouncing around too much. Other times I'll pick up my guitar, play a few tunes. Jim was working on his computer this morning because we're, within 5 miles of shore. It was easy to pick up a Wi-Fi signal. Other times I'll take this board off the ceiling here. I'll work on one of my jigsaw puzzles. Jim made this board, which I love. Has a cork on top, a very thin piece of plywood, and it works beautifully. Keeps me out of trouble, as Jim would say.
For a while.
For a while, honey? I heard that from the peanut gallery.
It's a losing game sometimes, but we try.
We try.
The sea state isn't anywhere where I thought it was going to be. Look at how...
It's changed a lot.
Yeah.
We're up to 1 to 2 foot rollers, white caps, so that means the wind's up to about 10 knots on the Beaufort scale. It's hitting us astern, so it's not rolling much, thankfully. But we're getting a little bit of exhaust coming in, so we actually were wearing our 3M masks for a while. Me with my asthma, I have to be careful, plus there's a lot of particulate in the air right now with fires up north. We're doing okay. A few more hours. We're off Milford. There's an island there called Charles Island. You can duck behind it and anchor. Milford Harbor's lovely. That's actually where Jim spent most of his childhood. I actually lived in Milford for a few years too. Stratford Point. Some waves hitting it. A little further to the left is the city of Bridgeport. Take the ferry from there across the Long Island Sound. Stern of us is the Bridgeport Port Jefferson Ferry that I've taken many times. And that's Bridgeport to the left. Much longer yet, and we'll be back to our dock. Almost there. Norwalk is dead ahead, the east passage into the harbor. You can see Peckledge Light, and we're really ready, I think, to get to the dock. It's been 9 hours, and there's pizza. Our victorious homecoming.
There was talk of pizza.
There was talk of pizza.
That's
yes, my love.
Power station. You can see that from like 30 miles away.
Yeah.
Now we're being swept here somehow.
Yeah, the currents picked up a lot.
All right, we've got to clear that red.
Yeah.
We've got to go to the left of the red, and then we can head for the lighthouse.
Right.
If you go too far that way, you will hit Dunder Rock.
Ask us how we know. Not us personally,
No, not us personally.
But a friend
I wonder
of ours.
if that's where Dunderhead comes from.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways, it's bad.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that. Sometimes I think that they just came and took these things out.
Yeah.
Just take it out. The problem is it's lots of
It's
material.
a lot of material.
That's a big rock.
Big rock. All right, we're coming up on Peck's Ledge, the eastern entrance to Norwalk Harbor. You got Goose Island, Shimmin, Cops, Betts, and a smattering of other islands off to my left, but a few dead ahead and some to starboard. They've really been working hard to fix up this light. It's now part of an organization that's trying to preserve it, which I'm happy to hear, because it is a neat lighthouse. You can see a bunch of small little sailboats closer to shore, part of the sailing school. It's a nice big beach here in Norwalk, Calf Pasture Beach, because I used to have a farm there. I see one of the two ospreys that live there. I don't see their nest anymore. It used to be a nest up there. Looking across Long Island Sound, you can see the island, Long Island, the stacks at Northport. Here's a little closer up view of Betts Island and grassy behind it. I like to kayak around here and to dig up soft shell clams. You can get a clamming license at Fisherman's World just down the street from the marina. I see a tug and pushing a barge coming in the entrance, so we'll have to stay on our toes as we come around the corner and make our approach. Downtown Norwalk is just off the bow there, a little support, and our home marina here, Norwalk Cove, to starboard. Here's the sailing school. The kids just getting off the water. Good place to learn. mega dock out here plus transients. I think that motorboat slowed down. They have weddings in that tent up there. Lovely location overlooking the harbor. Hey, look, honey, that trawler there has plants on the back upper deck.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we should try that, since I think we salted our sweet potato. Didn't like it.
I would love to hang it off the top.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Because you'll forget about it and something will
That's
happen.
true. And then when you're trying to launch the dinghy or the kayaks, they'll probably get trampled.
The general's back.
Oh, wow. You'll have to let him know that we saw him. Looks like Sunset Grill is open.
They don't want to know us not drinking. I like some wings. I'll sit in the corner.
With a seltzer.
Buy other people.
How pathetic. Oh, Wild Thing is finally launched. This blue sailboat, we were watching them work on it for months this spring and early summer. Very pretty boat. Nice to see it back in the water. And our friends, the Hags, live on the General here. A really cool old Army T-boat that they rejiggered and turned into their home. They've been living aboard for decades. All right, I better get back to my duties here and help Jim get into the dock. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. Thank you.